Hello everyone, welcome to the radio show. I am your host Nino. Today is Tuesday, March 31st, 2026, which means we have a brand new episode for you. I am introducing a trending article from the archives today, and I am going to transcribe it as if I am talking to myself in my usual laid-back and slightly eccentric way. Before we dive in, I have a joke for you. Why did the bilingual computer get confused? Because it could not find its mother native tongue. Anyway, let us move on to the actual paper. The title is EnTaCs Analyzing the Relationship Between Sentiment and Language Choice in English Tamil Code Switching. The quote is XLM RoBERTa 26 of 26,587. It is long, but I promise it is incredibly fascinating. So what is this paper all about? It dives deep into something called code switching, which is when bilingual speakers swap back and forth between two different languages in a single conversation. Specifically, the researcher is looking at people who mix English and Tamil in YouTube comments. The problem that this paper is trying to solve is actually quite tricky. Because when people type Tamil on the internet, they often use the standard Latin alphabet instead of the traditional Tamil script. This is called romanized text, and it makes things incredibly difficult for computers. Because both English and romanized Tamil share the exact same alphabet. Traditional character-level language models get completely confused by this, because they rely on the shape of the letters to figure out the language. So they simply cannot tell the difference between an English word and a romanized Tamil word. To fix this problem, the author used a massive deep learning model called XLM RoBERTa, and fine-tuned it to identifying languages at the individual word level. This is a huge step up when you compare it with other technologies, because older methods will just look at an entire sentence and guess the overall language, while this new approach looks at every single token and understands the context. By tagging over 35,000 romanized YouTube comments, the model was able to measure exactly how much English and how much Tamil is being used in each sentence. And this is what is silly interesting, because in southern India, English is often associated with academic and professional prestige, while Tamil carries deep emotional and personal associations for native speakers. So the researcher asked a brilliant question. Does the emotional tone of a sentence predict which language a person will choose to use? After running some intense linear regression models, the results were absolutely clear, and honestly pretty mind-blowing. It turns out that when people leave positive comments, they use significantly more English, about 34.3% of the sentence, compared to negative comments, which only contain about 24.8% English. So when people are happy or expressing positive thoughts, but when they are upset or negative, they fall back on the native heritage language to express that heavy emotion. And it's even better, because they also have found that when a comment has mixed feelings, meaning the person is conflicted or feeling ambivalent, they actually switch back and forth between the two languages the most frequently. It is like their brain is literally jumping between emotional registers, and the language choice just follows along unconsciously. Now let us talk about how this applies to everyday life, because understanding this connection between emotion and language is highly practical. Here are 3 specific application examples based on the content of this paper. This technology could completely revolutionize sentiment analysis for targeted marketing regions. Right now, companies struggle to understand customer feedback when people mix languages, but it can automatically flag the review for urgent customer service attention. This means businesses can respond to unhappy customers much faster and handle complaints with more cultural sensitivity. This research could deeply impact the development of conversational artificial intelligence and virtual assistants. Imagine a chatbot that not only understands what you are saying, but can also detect your emotional state based on how frequently you are switching languages. If you are talking to a virtual therapist or a smart home device, and you suddenly switch from English to your native language because you are stressed, the artificial intelligence could recognize that emotional shift. It could then switch its own language to match yours, providing a much more comforting and natural interaction that feels genuinely human. This concept is incredibly useful for content moderation on social media platforms. Moderating code switch text is notoriously difficult because bad actors often mix languages to bypass safety filters. By using this deep learning approach to track token-level language switches, platforms can better understand the emotional weight of a post. If a post exhibits the high frequency switching associated with mixed or volatile emotions, combined with specific vocabulary, the moderation system can more accurately identify potential harassment or hate speech, making online communities much safer for everyone. It is just so fascinating to see how the words we choose and the languages we borrow from reveal so much about our hidden emotion states. He often notes that while the effect is clearly there, the overall variance explained by sentiment is somewhat low, which just goes to show that human communication is wonderfully complex. Things like the audience, the topic, and the platform all play a huge role in how we speak. There are some limitations, like the fact that they only look at romanized text, and the training data set was relatively small. But the foundation laid here is incredibly strong. Future work will probably expand this to other language pairs, like French and Arabic or Spanish and Tagalog, to see if this pattern holds up across different cultures. Anyway, I hope you found this deep dive as captivating as I did, and I will see you next time on the radio show.